the reason I gave them wasn't the reason they were received, you know? Um,
Uh-huh.
I thought I was gonna go to heaven. That's not gonna happen because of this. So I started doing my own little protesting. I started my YouTube channel, and I had a car that I wrote different words on there about the World Mission Society Church of God. Very big, very legible. And I would just drive around. I would just drive around San Diego until I ran out of gas and put more gas in the car. That was just what I did for a while until I learned about the protests.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Find the Alternative. I'm your host, Adam, 10-year former member of the World Mission Society Church of God in Salt Lake City. Today, I have a special guest with me, Nita. We're going to talk to her a little bit. She's going to tell her story of how she got involved with the WMSCOG, how she left the WMSCOG, and she was actually one of those who, with Diana, held the protest outside of LA. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yep.
And then obviously the church didn't take too kindly to that and took her to court because of it. So we're going to discuss this in this interview. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to stick to the very end. So I'm going to turn the time over to Nita, and she's going to introduce herself and talk a little bit about her time in the WMSCOG. So the floor is yours.
Hello, folks. 안녕하세요. Nita here. I still say that. There are a lot of things that I still say and still do, even though I was
You and me both.
only in for 2 years. So I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a short but very intense 2 years. Um, let's see.
Interesting.
I joined, I think it was in 2010, and I got
Okay.
out in 2012, which was a really interesting year because didn't people think like the Mayan calendar 2012 was going to be the end of the world, and
Yes, they did.
all 2011 the sisters and we would say, "Oh yeah, we'll do this thing if the world don't end." So that was a thing. And yeah, I got involved when I was active duty Navy. There was a roommate of mine who had a friend on her ship who invited her to Bible study. And then she decided to take me along. And I just thought it was so interesting the way that those humans explained the Bible and went through all the passage from page to page to show how things connected. I thought
Right.
was like that was the first time I had ever seen anyone use the Bible like that, like a resource, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I was very interested. Went back. The first study I think was like 2 hours, and the next study I think I went by myself. But then me and my roommate got baptized together. Only she wasn't really as dedicated as I was.
Okay.
I studied a lot. I loved Bible study. I had a hard time during service. Pastor Brian was our pastor at Santee Zion, and it was the first time I had to deal with a Korean accent. So the for a long time, like many Sabbaths, I'm just laughing, holding my tears, laughing because I'm like, what the curse words is this guy saying? Um, I thought that the prayer in Korean was a little culty, but I had also went to a Catholic church, not as a member, but I was invited there, and they did some
Right.
weird culty things too. So I'm like, maybe this is just how other churches do church, right?
A
Um,
Korean brand of whatever.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that was strange. And then, um, my second favorite part was the choir. I loved I love new song. I still do, and it makes me sad that I can't just, like, go on Spotify and listen to it. I
Yeah, they're very talented,
they're
extremely
oh
talented,
my goodness, the instrumental versions are just
brilliant.
they are beautiful musicians. You cannot take
Absolutely.
away that talent. I was also in the choir, and I that that was just like the most fun thing that I have done in my religious career. And what really hooked me, aside from the Bible being used as a resource, is the community.
Hmm.
Um, Gosh, they feed you. And being hungry is just not a thing in Zion. And
Yeah,
they were always feeding us. And when I had some issues with my daughter or with the military, my missionary Kiki Han, she would support me. She would take me places, be my advocate, so to speak. So it really felt like these people cared, and there was a huge closeness, and these were like my friends, and these were the only people that um showed me respect, I could say. My
yeah,
time in the military was quite troublesome, and going into Zion was a relief from all of that. So I stayed for 2 years, mm, mostly because I loved the people there. Um,
they do have amazing people there. Like some of the best people I've ever met. I've met in Zion.
and the culture as far as, like, taking care of each other, picking people up, when they didn't have a ride, dropping them off, um, calling in, checking on you if they didn't hear from you, or if you promised to be somewhere but you didn't show up. There was a lot of the things in Zion that I was taught growing up is what a community is supposed to be, right? So I don't take those things away from the World Mission Society Church of God. The people, the neighbors, not the leaders, but like the person who probably went door to door and introduced you to God the Mother and Ansang Hong. Those are some beautiful souls. And that's
100%. I
that's
agree.
why I was there for such a long time. I left because of some very awesome people in Washington State who I don't remember how I came across those humans, because like I said, I got out 2012. This is more than a decade ago. But they introduced me to a book that An Sang Hong wrote, I think it was, saying that there is no God the Mother. And I was like, pause. What? And the first thing I did was go to my deaconess and say, "Hey, what's up with this book?" And they were like, "Oh, we're not going to talk about that." And I said, "Oh, okay."
That was the response?
That was the response. "We're not going to talk about that. Um, let's go pray. Let's have a Bible study about something completely different. Uh, Maybe we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it with with pastor." And I'm like, "Why won't you just tell me? Like, this is weird, right? Why
Super weird.
why would
Red
there
flag.
be a book by..." And then so if my thought was, if he wrote it, then Zangil is not God, and everything is wrong. If
Right.
he wrote it, um if he didn't write it, why is it published? Why does it say that he wrote it? Like, how did that happen?
And it was
And
published twice.
right? So, but what ended up coming out of that was, after I kept asking questions, was yes, he wrote it, but it wasn't um the truth. Like, it was, the truth mother is mother, blah blah blah. This was a test, or some spin. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but God doesn't lie. So you're telling me that God told a lie to test us, to see?
That's yeah. That's
No.
not God.
Yeah.
That doesn't work that
So
way.
I also, during that time of discovery, I was in the process of being transitioning out of the military. So there was a lot happening in my life, period.
For
And
sure.
this was a really big um this is a really big bomb to drop on me at that time, because if, like, dedicated members are giving all of their extra time, all of their money, their gas, their food,
Yeah.
whatever resources that they
They can
have,
offer. Yeah.
they're giving that to Zion in some way. And I had to reconcile with, I did all of that for nothing.
Yeah.
And
And
what
that was your community. That was your sanctuary, if you will, outside of what you're dealing with in the Navy.
Mhm. And so, as I'm dealing with getting out of the Navy, and I started calling sisters, because my first thing was to go to the leadership and ask them what's going on. And I probably should not have done that, because by the time I reached out to my other sisters, these are sisters that were on a different ship, or at a different Zion, in a different state, because people in the Navy move around.
For sure.
Um, they stopped answering their phone.
So they cut you off, basically.
Yeah. And that hurt my feelings a lot. That was very difficult to deal with, because I lost my community, and I just wanted things to make sense. I did not want to lose the people that I thought were my friends. I didn't realize that if you didn't fully submit to what Zion was teaching, that you would be exiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't expect that if you asked clarifying questions, I mean, that's not like that's a human reaction. That's a normal reaction to where you're presented this counter evidence to everything you've been taught, and you ask the leader for clarification on said evidence that's contrary to what you've been taught. And instead of handling it, you know, with wisdom and discernment and answering those questions and objections and providing evidence that's like, actually, here's what's really happening, here's the receipts. Instead, it's just, oh, she's asking questions, she has low faith, and nobody talked to her. Is that kind of the gist of it?
Yeah. Nobody talked to her. You need to go over that way. Thank you. Um, I get out of the Navy, and I'm sent back home. I was not in my hometown at the time, and I w- did some research, and I learned that my contributions to a nonprofit, to a church, is tax deductible. So I go to Santee Zion, and I they already knew what was happening because the churches talk, okay?
Oh, 100% they do.
Yeah, so when I showed up, um the leadership did not speak to me. They just went to go get missionary Kelly Kihihan, and she intercepted me, and I asked the same questions about this book that An Sang Hong wrote, and how like all of this must be a lie, um, because and she's
Yeah.
trying to tell me no, and then I said, well, let me just get um a record of my contributions because they're tax deductible. And they're
Yeah, it
like,
helps you
okay.
out.
Pastor Brian comes to talk to me, and he's like, we'll get that information to you. I was like, okay. And I'm sitting around and he's just staring at me, kind of like, why are you still here? I'm waiting, like,
I want to get what I came for.
y'all keep extra heavy records. Y'all some record keepers. And it shouldn't be that difficult to go look me up and see, how many
What you paid.
thousands of dollars I have contributed to this establishment. And he's just like, well, you know what? We don't keep records for longer than a year. And by that time, I think I had been away for about a year, I want to say. And I'm like, that doesn't sound legal, you know? Mind you, how old was I? Let's see, I joined the Navy when I was 17, and about 2 years in, so I think I was 19 when I was baptized.
Same
Oh,
here.
19, 21. I'm 21. I'm new to adulting. I don't even know what
Right.
I'm talking about with taxes. I don't know what even's going on when I am filing my taxes, right? But I
Yeah.
read that this is tax deductible. And he's just like, we'll get it to you. Or actually, we won't because we don't keep records that long. That seemed incorrect. Um, and so I left with lots of anger. I felt manipulated, obviously lied to. My resources were stolen from me. They were not given um with what's the word? Like the
You felt like it
reason
was a bait and switch, kind of.
the reason I gave them wasn't the reason they were received, you know. Um
Hmm.
I thought I was going to go to heaven. That's not going to happen because of this. So I started doing my own little protesting. I started my YouTube channel, and I had a car that I wrote different words on there about the World Mission Society Church of God. Very big, very legible. And I would just drive around. I would just drive around San Diego until I ran out of gas and put more gas in the car. That was just what I did for a while until I learned about the protests in LA.
Okay. So, as far as your time in the WMSCOG, was there any other red flags that you saw that were kind of like, I don't know about that?
What is this on my I want this to go, oh, here it is, the X. Oh, there were two marriages. I was like, this is weird. The first marriage that I saw, they wanted the choir to sing, and I sang. But there was this brother, he was a white boy, um, who was marrying a Korean girl who looked like maybe she had turned 18 yesterday. and she did not speak any English. And the white boy spoke enough Korean to say the prayer. um, and they were
Not a match made in heaven.
like, what is this? I was like, do we do arranged marriages? What? But I just kind of kept my thoughts to myself, sang at their little wedding, and okay, whatever. I didn't know about like citizenship and how marriages were used for citizenship. That's probably what that was. Again,
We can speculate. Yeah.
I didn't even know what questions to ask because I was a very new adult, okay?
Yeah.
Um, so whatever. The second marriage, I was like, this is BS. There was a lesbian, a mask presenting lesbian, marrying a feminine gay man. And these were
Interesting.
both sailors at the time. And I'm like, and the woman, I didn't know her personally. Like, I knew her because she was on the same ship as my roommate, but we didn't have like a personal relationship where we'd hang out or whatever.
Okay.
Um, my roommate at the time had more of a relationship with that person than I did. And when she found out, it was like, what is going on here? Because I don't think, gosh, I don't think I recall any sermons about sexuality, or any Bible studies about sexuality, but it was very clear that that was a lesbian and that that was a gay man. Why are they getting married right now? Um, I didn't ask
That is
any
interesting.
questions. I didn't go to the wedding. It just felt very off. They later had a child together. I saw a picture of the baby, cute baby. And then when I followed up, I was like, this is after I left. I asked about this woman between like other military sailors that I used to know, and they said that they have since divorced and are no longer involved with Zion, with the World Mission Society.
Oh, wow.
So I can speculate that that was some proof to father and mother that they weren't gay. I'm not gay no more. Type wedding. No, that broke my heart. I don't care what anybody has to say about sexuality. That broke my heart to see, even as a member. It just didn't make sense. So those
Yeah.
were huge red flags to me.
When you were in Santee at that time, were they ever teaching or saying openly like about abortions or anything like that?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. I've just heard from other people. So Salt Lake City, we were a branch of Santee. Um, so about 2011, 2012, I think they branched out from Santee, came to Salt Lake City, and around 2014, my wife got baptized, and she was 18. Then 2015, beginning of 2015, I was 19. I ended up getting baptized, and
Okay.
we actually just recently left September of 24. So about a year ago, I guess, year and a half ago, we'll say. Um, okay, so you started seeing these red flags, and then at that point, you were just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to come to Zion anymore.
No, I just at that time that was about halfway, I want to say, through my membership there, and
Okay,
I just decided to mind my own business because I didn't have a personal relationship with any of those people that got married.
right.
So it just kind of felt wrong. But after learning about the cult, I realized that I I had somewhat of a social responsibility to um speak up for my
Yeah.
sailors. Like they weren't my sailors, but they were my shipmates. We were both in the military. And then there's
Yeah.
like this, black woman camaraderie and, the stand with, the people that you support, like if you see someone being hurt, you should say something. And
Yeah. Or do something.
that was a very harmful activity for those people to participate in, and I just watched, so I felt really guilty about that, and I just
Yeah.
prayed and kept doing my Zion things.
So what was it that made you finally leave Zion, I guess? Just
When the
was it that
deaconess
book?
wouldn't tell me about the book, like why won't
Ah,
you why won't you tell me the things,
especially if An Sung Hong wrote it. Like, isn't he the root of David
and his teachings are for us to read, right? Like if he taught
for salvation?
something, we should know about it. And if this was a whole sermon that he's given, why can't we know about this sermon? And why are you being so weird about it?
Right.
Especially me studying to be a group leader and all of that. Like I felt like I'm not one of these little baby members, You can tell me.
Yeah, I'm an
Um,
adult.
but they couldn't tell me because because it was crap that what they were trying to sell, and I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna buy it.
Yeah. They knew it was already lost.
Yeah.
The war was already lost before they even started. Okay, so you found the book, and then obviously that was kind of just your last thing is okay, if I'm not going to get clarification, you guys are up to something basically.
hmm
And then that's when you decided to ride around your car with messages on the windows.
I've got to do something. I can't just
Right.
leave and then be done with it. Um, yeah. So I started saying things, and I would like comment on other people's videos about the truth and all this other stuff. Um, but like I said, when I learned about the protests happening in LA, I decided to participate in that. And that was really fun.
How'd that go? Walk us through that. How was that like?
Um, so I I had a job in Fullerton, and I had this stuff written on my car, and I would park on the company property. And then they told me that I either had to wash my car or park somewhere else because it was, they didn't want any problems. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder if somebody from Zion works in corporate over here or something. I don't know.
Or called them and reported you or
Right?
something?
Like that's weird, but whatever. So I just I left the stuff on my car, and then I parked like across the street in public space. And twice on different days, like let's say it was a Monday, and then the second time it happened was a Wednesday. There was a nail in my car in one of my tires. And the first time it happened, I had to replace the tire. The folks said that it was just way too flat to save. And then the
Uh-huh.
second time, I caught it early. And I'm like, this is weird, This feels like targeting. And at the time I only lived a mile away from work, so I just left my car parked at home and then I would walk. But yeah, I just started parking at my like leaving my car parked at home and walking to work. And then um I had learned about the protests in LA and decided to join. So I went up there, um, and I brought my eldest daughter. I only had one daughter at the time, and they were very clear about what we were allowed to do as
Mhm.
just humans in America, and then what we
Yeah.
weren't allowed to do. And so we were on the sidewalk, which is public property. We cannot be forced away from the sidewalk unless we were breaking some sort of law. And they had these driveways in and out of their parking lot.
Hmm.
We were told that we could cross, like if we're walking on the sidewalk, you can cross through the little dip in the sidewalk, but don't stop in the sidewalk because then you would be blocking egress.
Impeding.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, so we had signs, we were chanting, um, as people were walking through, we were talking to them. Some of them were stopping to have a little Bible debate. Um,
And these
some
were
people were
members
asking
approaching
questions.
you.
Yes, so they were members because they're going for service.
Right.
And there were some brothers who were kind of like standing, I guess, like security, kind of,
Right.
to make sure that we wouldn't go on the property. But we knew not to. A couple times,
Right.
someone came out. I don't know who they were, but a couple times someone came out to tell us that they had a court order that we couldn't be there, and blah blah blah. I ha After that was over, um went back to work, living my life, and then I went back to San Diego, continued to live my life, continued to make videos and protesting. Well, not protesting like the picketing, but with my car. And then I
Yeah.
got a summons to court, and I was like, "Oh crap, I'm being sued." Um So I made a video, asking for help to cover the fees of a lawyer, which
Right.
thank
That's not
you
cheap.
to all the humans who did give the money, because every penny went to that lawyer, who, by the way, tried to get me to pay more money, talking about he spent more hours outside of the retainer, and so I owed him like an extra few $100s. And I reminded him that our contract said you were supposed to tell me before you spent those extra hours so that I could be like, okay, you know
Exactly.
what I mean? So
Yeah, for sure.
he was weird. And it turns out I didn't even need a lawyer. I was so upset because the what was it? The court order was not for me. It was for Diane and her associates. And I'm not an associate of Diane. I don't work for her. I never worked for her. So I'm not an associate. I'm just some random person who was harmed by the Church of God. And I happen
So
to
why
be
did they
there
send it to you then?
because I have a YouTube channel, and because there's no dying allowed. Okay. Um, because I had a big voice in the protesting, because there were probably 20 of us there, but only a few only a few of us were actually named in the lawsuit. Not every person
Mhm.
was named. So they were trying to do, like, you take out the loudest person, and then, it kind of fizzles
Figure out
out,
who they
right?
are.
But that didn't work because of there was no court order against me. So
Yeah.
I could be there. And they failed to do what they wanted to do. And I just continued um making videos and continued protesting. I don't even really recall when I stopped. Really. But I mean, I didn't really stop. like I guess I faded out because I had my own life to live, and I ended up joining another cult. So,
Oh,
yeah, and I got distracted by that.
what was the name of that one? Was it another Korean one or?
No, the Hebrew Israelites,
Interesting. I've heard about them.
they
Is it
are
similar?
no, they're
No.
no,
Oh,
not similar. But but just as harmful.
for
um,
sure.
yeah, I have a longing for community, and I did a lot of research on like why did I join this thing, and why are other people joining, and why are people staying, and it has nothing
It's
to do
community.
with being smart or dumb.
It's
It's
community.
it's every yes, it's all about getting your cup filled, and do they fill your cup, and they know how to do that. So
Yeah.
I was still, people I would run into some members who want to talk to me about, oh, have you heard of God the Mother? And then, I'd talk to them and ask them questions, and then they would be curious, and then um we'd exchange phone numbers. I would act like I didn't know what they
You
were
had no
doing.
idea.
Yeah, and I just
Yeah.
happened to have these questions. And then my guess is that when they reported back to Santee Zion, they were told to stop talking to me, because then those people I wouldn't hear from again. Um,
Right.
so I just, and then, time goes by. I still see them sometimes, and at the mall and things like that. And I like to say, they'd be like, hi, when I notice that they want to talk about God the Mother, and I say, oh, annyeonghaseyo, and they're like, oh my gosh, are you a sister? And I say, oh my gosh, no, you're in a cult and you should get out. And they will be like, what?
There you go.
I just don't even try to be gentle about it anymore. I yeah, I just
Sometimes you have to be
uh,
strong, you know?
it's not okay.
If I could ask a little bit more, how did it feel when, so I'm assuming obviously you went to the courtroom. How did it feel? Like, did you have to like present anything? Did you
No,
have to give like a testimony or
no,
anything, or how'd that work?
no. The judge was like, well, this is ridiculous. And I wonder if the judge had seen them before, you know, because that the judge came through, and this is ridiculous. This court order does not apply to this person. You can't, like, they said, did she sign it? No. Well, then why is she here? Like, that's what really pissed me off, like, the most about that lawsuit is I didn't even have to go to court. I could have just didn't show up, and it wouldn't have mattered, because
Doesn't apply.
it didn't apply to me.
So what was the situation then? So did Diana have a court order to not protest, and she broke that, and that's what caused this, or are they just sending out these
Like, she
court orders?
wasn't there.
She wasn't at the protest?
No.
Oh.
The people who were named on whatever court order that I never saw, none of those people were at that protest that
Oh,
I
so it
have.
must have been a different protest that they got footage of Diana.
Oh yeah, there were multiple protests up there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Um I didn't meet her until it was time to go to court. I want to say the day before court is when I met her. She was not there when when I was protesting.
But they still sent the court order anyway.
They still did what?
They still sent like the court summons anyway, even though
Yeah,
she wasn't even there.
because of what their lawyer was trying to say is I am an associate, And
I
the
see.
judge was like, "No, she's not. She does not work for this person." You know, she
Has no association with this person.
I had never met this person until the day prior, you know? Like, I had
Yeah.
talked to her on the phone, but this like, we were not, in cahoots.
Associates.
And, yeah, the legal term of associates was not us. And so they were just it was like a stretch, and the judge was upset because it's like, this attorney had to know that, right? Like, you don't be a lawyer and not know who who the court order applies to. So it was really just to scare me and waste my time. And I was very scared. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me?" And it did waste my time. They were very
And your
successful in
money.
that. So, and mine and my supporters' monies at the time too. So,
Wow.
but I think I think it I did comparable damage, you know, cuz that was $3,000 for the lawyer and maybe a couple hundred for gas and food and stuff.
Hmm.
Um and I imagine many people have left because well, I know, um partially because of the work that I have done. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's tithes and offering.
Yeah.
Income laws. So, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm still winning at the end.
I think we all are, and the reason why we speak out and we do this is obviously because we don't have vendettas, right, against the members. We don't have ill will towards the members. And I always tell everybody too, like, you can believe whatever you want, right? You can believe in Zhang Gilja, you can believe in An Sang Hong, Kim Ju Chul, all of them. Don't care. But it's when you start hiding things from people, you start coercing them into giving money, you start exploiting their talents to the point where it's like they're constantly either doing construction, cooking, or whatever the case is, constantly, and hiding things, hiding books, hiding teaching, saying we don't teach that, the gaslighting, the fear mongering, the coercion, all that kind of stuff. It's like that's where I have a problem with it, right? And that's what we're trying to attack here. We're not trying to attack a specific member. We're not trying to attack or a specific group of members even. And I'm not even attacking the doctrine really. Like, I don't care what you believe. It's just quit lying, quit hiding things. Come forward and face the music and say sorry for the things that you guys have done. All these kind of, like, just be a good organization. That's all I care about. That's all I want. And I'm sure that's what you want for the members inside as well, even though they might paint us as demon possessed, slanderers, Judas, whatever the case is.
I want the people to keep their resources.
And their time that they could be spending with, an alien loved one, or maybe a kid, their child needs a little bit more care than others, or a wedding, or a birth, or some other event that, they would have not gone to had they been in the organization.
There are so many people who who would like take a loan out against their houses, um give their cars, give their entire paychecks, there are so many people I saw would stop taking their medication during fasting periods. Um and I hear the, believe whatever you want. I hear that. My issue is the actions that are taken based upon those beliefs.
For sure.
And when you know that there's something better coming, it's not the sacrifices that you're making now are nothing. but
Yeah.
that's something that's better, that's coming, it's actually not coming, you know? And to believe that something is coming when it's not, that's where the harm starts to come into play. I
Yeah.
don't want anybody to believe in anything that the World Mission Society Church of God teaches, because that breeds harm. There are
Yeah.
people who are being um shielded from their families. They're not they're made to feel like they can't be with their families during like festivals, that are not
Christmas,
the
birthdays,
yeah,
whatever.
the feast of God. And like you said, missing out on opportunities because you're at early morning service during the feast of God, or you're doing Sabbath and and third day worship and all that other stuff. It's there's hmm, there's a lot of harm being caused
Yeah.
when
I agree.
when you see people getting married to strangers to prove a point. That's rooted in the belief of the teachings of the World Mission Society Church of God. Those teachings that are beyond being a decent human being are lies, and you should not believe lies. That's that, and I stand 10 toes flat-footed down on that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to remain in that cult. You join
Yeah.
a soccer team, join that cult.
Yeah.
You can get
Do
community
pickleball.
pickleball, they got orange slices, you can get kimchi anywhere. Like it doesn't have to be at Scion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I agree because, and they'll say, you know, oh, well, you guys, you want us to just be part-time religious. It's like, they always have argument from analogies, right? It's not argument from facts. It's not argument from reality. It's argument from analogy. So they'll say, so you guys just want us to be part-time religious instead of full-time religious, like devoting everything to the church. It's like, well, what if you're working your job, you're working 80 hours, 100 hours a week, and then at the end, your boss has no intention of paying you. Wouldn't you like to know that before you actually end up working the 80, 100 hours a week?
Mhm.
Or would you rather find out months down the road your boss is never going to pay you and then you have to pick up the pieces?
Mhm.
Or would you rather say, hey, somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I worked for that guy before. He's not going to pay you. You're not going to get what you think out of this. And then you're
No,
like, oh,
no, it's
thank you.
different. No, it's different. No, it's he didn't pay you because you didn't do a thing, but I'm doing
Oh,
that thing. So
yeah. You weren't good enough, actually. You never actually belonged to the company. You never had faith. Yeah.
you didn't
Yeah.
stay long
There's
enough
always an
to
excuse.
see. You left too
Oh, yeah.
early.
You left before the paycheck comes, brother. You left before the paycheck comes. Just endure a little longer. Father's almost here. So 2012 then, so you lived through that. Was there any crazy things that you saw? I mean, I know you saw people like giving mass amounts of money and stuff, but it was like, was it hysterical? Like, was it doomsday sermons all the time at that point or what?
Oh yeah. There was that play. Oh man. It was a really awesome play. Uh where like the angels fell from heaven and became
Oh,
evil.
yep, I know. The
We
three-part one?
Yes, yes, we watched
Yeah, I
that
know that one.
many times. Because yeah, if the world don't end, that was a really big thing. And then thinking about like going back to the harm that was caused, having that on top of your mind, you know how much anxiety that creates? Like in
24/7
any
anxiety.
moment, you could die. Like,
Are you enough? Did you pray enough?
did
Did
you,
you read the books enough? Did you study enough?
did you
Yeah.
know that Mother prays at the top of the hour every hour? And so you should pray at the top of the hour every hour, because if you pray when Mother prays, then your prayers are more likely to make it up to Father. Never mind the
Like,
time difference.
that makes no sense. That makes zero sense. Your prayers, you're just shooting them up, hoping gravity is like good enough when
Well,
you're going through the
you get the
ozone, or what?
boost from mother's prayer, it's like a trampoline. I don't know, but there
An extra boost like in Mario Kart, you hit
there you go.
those arrows and
There you
pff,
go.
you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was always did you pray enough? And I was pulled aside because I was not paying tithes. Um, and I was going through some familial issues at the time. And I'm like, yeah, I need my tithes. And they're like, well, if you pay your tithes, then, father and mother will bless you. Okay. I have a cat. My cat's very interested. um, yeah. And they also played with my mind and like, maybe this is happening because you're not paying tithes. And I'm like,
There's always a flip, right? It's always your fault. It's your fault every time. When something good
and I
happens, oh,
did,
thanks, Father Mother.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not doing something enough, um, which I battled with a lot after leaving, not doing enough and trying to have control over everything, being involved in so many different things. Anyway, I thought it was strange. Like, wow, we have more than 100 members. I don't know how many people were going to Sabbath at Santee Zion. It was a lot of people. And you pulled me aside, which is why it was crap when I asked Pastor Brian for my tax documents. Because if you can tell me that I'm not paying, then you can tell me how much I did pay. Because after they told me that, after they said maybe this stuff is happening in your family because you're not paying tithes, guess who started paying tithes? And giving a minimum of 1% in offering for every service.
Wow.
Sabbath and third day and the feast days and for the money for the food and I gave so much money to this church. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And then my mom wanted to know why why I just always didn't have any money. My bills were paid, mind you. I paid all of my
Yeah.
bills. But,
That little extra after, though, we just didn't have it.
father and mother was also my bills. I did have it. I just gave it to An Sang Ho.
It's an expensive church membership. I'll
You
tell that. Like
know?
it's expensive membership.
Golly. Oh, something else interesting that happened. Zangil Jia got sick, and it was strange because she's God. Like, why would God get sick? There was
Yeah.
a trip to Korea to see Mother. I remember Sister Kia went. She was so happy to go, and I was so happy for her. And I miss her so much. Like, oh. And I hope she sees this, and I hope she reaches out, and I hope she's not a sister anymore. Um, but after she went, um, the trips were canceled to go again. And it was because she was sick. And I thought that was weird. And they said that she was sharing in the like the human experience, you know.
Right. Covering her glory, etc.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. So that fed into the idea like, ooh, father's coming really soon because she's not supposed to die. Right? We're all supposed to go to heaven a lot. Well, the 144,000 is supposed to just transform with mother alive to go to heaven. And
Now they're saying they'd never taught that.
well, they're
That's
lying.
literally why I left. That they're saying they never taught that.
They are telling lies. Because
Weird.
they definitely taught that. And I was very certain that I was not one of the 144,000. I just knew that I was going to be one of the dead, resurrected humans because I didn't pay my tithes. So I know that they taught that there were
Well,
going.
if they didn't keep record, then you're good, right?
Oh,
How do they know?
wait. There you
So you
go.
were.
Never mind. What they don't write down, father and mother don't know.
Exactly. Otherwise, why are they writing it down? If they don't,
Exactly.
if they know.
That part.
Um. So to wrap this up here, one of the things I want to ask. So 2012, doomsday, all this kind of stuff. Can you explain, and if you know, um, what happened after 2012? Right? Did it just like, did they gaslight you saying, "Hey, we never taught that," or you heard it wrong, or something like that, or was it just like, what was their excuse for why 2012 passed?
Father's giving us more time.
Figures.
Aren't we so blessed? There are so many more brothers and sisters out there that we haven't found yet. Because remember the sheep and the one sheep that
Mm-hmm.
was out? Father didn't
Yeah.
come this time because there's still a sheep out there that we didn't find yet. And we have to keep preaching until we find that sheep, and then Father will come. We're getting more time.
And this is at this point 13 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
give or take.
Mm-hmm.
And first it's 1988, then it's 1999, then it's 2012, then 2014 was Jubilee, and everyone got carried away with that. And then every year there's something. 2017 it was Kim Jong Un sending rockets.
Mm.
2020 was a pandemic. 2022 the Russian Ukraine war. 2023 it was the Israel versus Hamas, and it's a constant just anything that's happening. It's like, oh, Father's footsteps. Oh, Father's footsteps. He's waiting for you to repent.
Mm-hmm.
Though it linger, wait for it. And this is just how all these doomsday cults work. And it's not just WMSCOG, it's Jehovah's Witnesses. It's, Shincheonji. I think they do the same thing. There's always these fulfillments of prophecy. Oh, this is the end times. This is this is that. There's so many doomsday cults. And it all started basically from William Miller, you know, the failed Advent in 1844. And it just keeps happening over and over and over and over. And at the end of the day, it's like, guys, this isn't anything new. Wars have been happening forever. Earthquakes, famines, pestilence, you know, it's been happening forever. And so it's another thing to just keep you busy. It's the fear mongering. It's the, hey, Father's coming any minute. You need to work, 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 work. Don't rest.
Work, 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 work.
So, I kind of want to wrap this up here in the next 5 minutes or so. Nita, if you have anything to say to any current WMSCOG member, what would you want to say to them if they're listening?
Get out. Yeah.
There you have it, folks.
Get out.
That's all she wrote.
That's it, Um gosh. I wanna say to the friends and family of people who are members, um every person has their own tipping point. Read Tipping Point. That's a book by Malcolm Gladwell. And my tipping point was the book um that An Sung Hong wrote, talking about there's no God the Mother. And just because that's what it was for me doesn't mean that that's what's going to be for the next person.
Yeah.
Um and love them through it, because when we leave this harmful organization, we're going to need support. lots of support and lots of patience. So
Yes.
I've seen some people take some very drastic um measures to try to get people out. Yelling, screaming, cursing, banishing is not the way. Um
I think it makes it worse, honestly.
yeah, it pushes
Makes
us
them way worse.
more because my family tried that, yelling at me, talking about ain't nobody but Jesus, and I'm like, but An Sung Hong is Jesus.
But they don't want to listen, right? And I think that's
Right.
another point too, is even though you don't believe what your loved one is saying, listen to them.
Mhm.
Because if you listen to them and you actually try to understand what they're saying, I'm not saying you have to believe it. I'm just saying afford them the opportunity to practice their faith, let them live their faith and listen to it. And here's the reason why: because they're expecting you to be a brick wall and to fight and to just attack them. That's what the church wants.
Mhm.
But if you just lower your guard a little bit and just let them talk about it, let them preach to you, let them pray it in front of you, whatever the case is, like let them practice their faith, because then you're not a threat.
Mhm.
And if you're not a threat, then they're going to listen to you. Like, okay, I listen to you. I understand your position. I get you. And I am totally for you practicing worshiping An Sung Hong, whatever this case is. But let me ask you a question about it. And there's questions that you can ask that will really make them think about it, like, but if you're just brash, what's the word? If you're just like harsh and cold and just very, I guess like forceful attacking almost, that's just going to drive them into it, like you said. But if you're warm and loving and accepting, I'm not saying believe it. I'm just saying afford them the opportunity to tell, so they can tell you what they want to tell you, because then they're more prone to actually listen to what you have to say. You're not considered an enemy at that point or a slanderer or something like that.
Yeah, because once you get that label,
Good luck.
like you probably won't hear from these folks. They will shut you out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it.
All right.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad this is
Well,
over. For me, at least.
yeah, and I think I just wanted to thank you for what you've done too. I mean, you might think that, you've been forgotten in time or something like that, but just know that your efforts have not been in vain and your efforts have not been forgotten. And I think it's people like you, Michelle Cologne, Diane, Ron, all these, I guess, past generation members that really honestly paved the way for me and paved the way for, because I don't know, like right now, there are so many different resources out there now for people in the WMSCOG. So many different channels, so many different social media handles. It's unbelievable actually how many people are coming out and speaking out and doing something about this organization. But I want to give credit where credit's due. Had it not been for you guys, the original, most likely we would not be here, right? Most likely no one would have spoken out and this place would have just grown and grown and grown, and who knows where we would be. So I just want to publicly thank you for what you've done and what you've been through. And obviously, if anyone's watching, Diane, Ron, Michelle, anyone, like what you guys have done has paved the way for everybody else. And I think we're all better because of you guys.
Um, I'm glad that what we've done was good. Sometimes you don't know if it's good until years later. Um, and there are humans that helped me when I got out, the people that called me to tell me about the book. Thank you so much. They took care of me when I got out of the military and got me home. And kept in touch, you know. I appreciate y'all too. And yeah, I'm easy to reach. Hit my inbox, my email. Come say
Awesome. And I'll
hello.
link your YouTube channel in the description, so that way we can, because you have some good stuff on there. I watched some of your videos and you got some good stuff on there,
Oh my
so
gosh,
I'll
those videos
reference
are
it in the
so old
description.
and so cringy.
My videos are still cringy, so it's not a
Oh
problem.
my gosh.
All right, Nita. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for telling your story. We appreciate you. And again, I'm Adam. This is Finding the Alternative. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe and do all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.